Last time we have seen in the last lecture, we have seen the introduction to the nervous system in general, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Today we will discuss the autonomic nervous system. Before we begin, let me share the screen. Here is the screen. I will decrease my size. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we will be going to discuss, we are going to discuss now autonomic nervous system. In short, it is also referred as ANS. It is written as ANS, or simply you can write autonomic nervous system. Where is my pen? Here. So autonomic nervous system or ANS. We are dividing it into two lectures, lecture 1 and lecture 2, but the information is related to autonomic nervous system. In the first, it will be basic and the structure and where it supplies. In the second lecture, we will talk about its effect on various organs. So coming directly to the lecture, how the nervous system control all the activities of the body by two ways, by sending the commands from the nervous system. So there are there is a link between CNS, that is central nervous system, and the organs like muscles or glands. There are two divisions through which the command can come. One is somatic, another one is autonomic. So where it is here. Two divisions are of the nervous system. The outgoing nervous system, that is called as efferent division. So through the efferent pathway, that is the command which is coming to the organ, is either by autonomic nervous system or by somatic nervous system. What is the meaning of somatic? Somatic, where you are able to control by your own will, by your own choice. Let's say I gave you the example in the previous lecture that if I want to hold the pen, I can contract my muscles related to the arm, to the fingers. Whereas in autonomic nervous system, it is involuntary division, involuntary. Without my will, I cannot control the activity of my heart. I cannot control the activity of my gastrointestinal muscles. Once the food enters into the gastrointestinal system, it will be automatically propelled to the proper destination. So it is not in my will, involuntary. Whereas in somatic, I can control the activity of my muscles so that I can hold it, I can relax it. Basically, autonomic nervous system is innervating to the cardiac muscle, the smooth muscles, and most of the exocrine glands, and some of the endocrine glands and adipose tissues. These are the areas where autonomic nervous system is controlling or acting. Cardiac muscle, smooth muscle, exocrine glands, some of the endocrine glands, and the adipose tissue. Okay, coming to the definition, the portion of the nervous system which control visceral activity, the most of the visceral function. Viscera means organ. Visceral activity means the activities of the organ. What are the organ? Gastrointestinal organ, or maybe cardiac, uh, heart or lungs. So these are These are the organs which are performing very vital functions for our body, and it is not in our own control, voluntary control, but rather it is in the automatic control, or autonomic nervous system is controlling them. Like regulation of the blood pressure, like regulation of the heart rate. Sometimes my heartbeat increases, that is called as tachycardia. Sometimes my heartbeat it decreases, that is called as bradycardia. And it is done according to the situation. According to the situation, when I am exercising, my heart rate will increase automatically. Body will decide to supply more blood, so it increases the heart rate. It is through the autonomic nervous system, ANS, through ANS. Similarly, gastrointestinal activity, GI motility, GI secretion, gastrointestinal secretion, all are controlled by autonomic nervous system. Even emptying of the urinary bladder. There are some part where I can control in emptying the urine, but there is some part where I cannot control the emptying of the urine. So urinary bladder has got control or is it is under control of autonomic nervous system. Similarly, sweating, when to increase the sweat, when to decrease, it's not in my control. It is according to the situation, according to the bodily activity. Similarly, temperature, body temperature is increasing or decreasing as per the situation of the body. It is not in our voluntary control. Okay. So the commands which are coming to the organ in autonomic nervous system are again under the control of two types of stimuli can come to the organ. Either one is called as the sympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system or parasympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system. It can be brought to the organ by sympathetic division or parasympathetic division. What are these? These are the two parts of a autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system functions, ANS functions through two arms. One is sympathetic part. Second is parasympathetic part or parasympathetic division. Parasympathetic division. So autonomic nervous system is controlling all the activities of the body by two divisions. One is sympathetic division, and other is parasympathetic division. We will see in detail now. So from where the origin of sympathetic division? Sympathetic division or sympathetic nervous system originate, or the nerves from sympathetic division are belonging to or coming from two areas. One is in the spinal cord between thoracic 1 to lumbar 2 to 3 segment. Thoracic 1 to lumbar 2 to 3 segment, we call it as thoracolumbar division or thoracolumbar outflow. Thoracolumbar outflow. If you remember, I will draw it here, that there is a spinal cord and it is running where? It is running through the vertebral column. There are vertebra like cervical vertebra, like C1, C2, C3, C5, like something else. Then if it comes into the thoracic segment, that is T1, T2, T3, these are the vertebra. Related to the vertebral region in the spinal cord, we call it as spinal division. So the area of the spinal cord in the thoracic segment, between T1 to lumbar. This is after thoracic, there is an area called as lumbar division. Then there is a sacral division. So from T1 and till L2 to 3, L2 to L3, these nerves are coming out. These are spinal nerves. Along with these spinal nerves, the fibers of the sympathetic division also comes out. Fibers of the sympathetic division also comes out. So no, nerve originating from thoracic 1 segment till L2 to L3 segment, lumbar divisions, they contain sympathetic nerve fibers. Similarly, parasympathetic, from where it originates, the nerves in the parasympathetic nervous system originate comes out, start from where? From cranial segment or sacral segment. Cranial part or sacral part. What is the cranial part? Cranial part is the brain stem. If you remember in the previous class, I shown you this diagram. There is a cerebrum, then there is a brain stem, medulla, pons, medulla, midbrain, pons, and medulla. Midbrain, pons, and medulla, and then it will continue as spinal cord. It will continue as spinal cord. Here it is the midbrain. Sorry, the what you call brain stem. This is nothing but the brain stem. And here is the cerebrum. So from this division, that is the brain stem, as well as this will continue down till sacral region. This is, let's say this is lumbar, and some part is called as the sacral. So from this area, that is brain stem, and from the sacral part, nerves are coming out, which are containing the fiber of parasympathetic system, which are containing the fibers or nerves of the parasympathetic system. So parasympathetic division is coming from cranial region or sacral region of the spinal cord, cranial region from the brainstem, whereas sacral region from the sacral segment of the spinal cord. You have seen, I told you in the previous class, that collection of cell bodies. This is the cell body of the neuron, right? Here in the above diagram, which I am drawing now, cell bodies of the neuron, when they are collected at one place within the nervous system, what we call it as? What is
Ganglion.
No, within the nervous system, we call it as nuclei. We call it as nuclei. If it is outside the nervous system, somewhere outside the nervous system, peripherally, yani, if they are arranged, we call them as ganglion. Ganglion is singular and ganglia is plural. So collection of new cell bodies outside the nervous system, we call it as ganglion. Okay, so within the ganglion, there are some fibers are ending here and some fibers will start. So this neuron, which is ending here, we call it as preganglionic fiber. And the one which is coming out from this is the postganglionic fiber. Postganglion. Pre means before the ganglion, post means after the ganglion. Okay. So the preganglionic fibers originate from the nuclei of the cranial nerves. What are the cranial nerves? Cranial nerve number 3. Here it is. 3, 7, 9, and 10. 3, 7, 9, and 10. These are the number given to the cranial nerves. Can anyone know? Tell me the name of the cranial nerve? Just give some name, not in order, maybe. What are the names of the cranial nerve? Here it is the number.
The third nerve is oculomotor.
Good.
And
In
seventh nerve
general,
is facial nerve.
Yeah, you can say that numbering from first to second, olfactory, optic, oculomotor, something like that. So here it is, the number is given. So in the within this nerve, some fibers are from the parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic. Cranial nerve number 3, cranial number 7, facial nerve, and the 9th is glossopharyngeal, and 10th is the vagus nerve. So in these nerves, plus some of the nerves coming out from the S2 to S4 segment, sacral spinal cord of fourth division, to second to fourth division, fourth segment. The nerves which are coming out from here, they are belonging to parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, let us see the anatomy of autonomic nervous system, how the structure is. Autonomic nervous system is extending from CNS to the peripheral organ, right? They are originating from the spinal cord or brainstem and then supplying to the muscle, supplying to organ or muscle. So it has it is a two neuron chain. It is two neuron chain. One start in the spinal cord or brainstem, sorry, and then end, sorry, then in the peripheral area. From here, the second neuron will start and it supplies to the muscle or the organ. And this area is called as the ganglion. Sorry, ganglion. So it is a two neuron chain, neuron number 1 and neuron number 2. And what is here? It is the spinal cord, or you can say the brainstem. It is starting from here. You can say start from here. Let me draw it properly. Here. So it starts from here, spinal cord, ending in outside the spinal cord. Then second neuron starts and it will supply to the organ. So it is a two neuron chain system. So the neuron which is before the ganglion, we call it as preganglionic neuron or preganglionic fibers. The neuron which is coming out of the ganglion, it is called as the postganglionic fiber or postganglionic neuron, which will innervate the organ, effector organ. And in between, in the ganglion, there is what we call it as the connection between one neuron to another neuron is the synapse. So synapse will form here. This is a ganglion where synapse is forming. And when there is a synapse formation, there must be some secretion of the neurotransmitter. So from the central nervous system, preganglionic nerve fibers arises. They will end outside the nervous system. And then second neuron will start from there and it will take the information and it will give it to the organ. So preganglionic neuron and there is a postganglionic neuron, and in between there is a ganglion where there will be release of neurotransmitter. Information is going from one neuron to another neuron by neurotransmitter. Okay, this is a diagrammatic representation of autonomic and somatic system. In somatic system, that is the one which is supplying to the voluntary muscles, the neuron starts in the nervous system and directly it will go to the skeletal muscle without any break. There is no station in between. This is a example of a somatic division or motor neuron. So motor neuron is starting from the spinal cord and directly ending into the muscle. Starting in the spinal cord and ending in the muscle. This is muscle. This is somatic division, somatic nervous system. Whereas in autonomic nervous system, sympathetic, sympathetic and parasympathetic both will be starting in the spinal cord, ending outside the spinal cord. Then second neuron, this is neuron number 1. Then second neuron will start and it will end on the organ where it supplies. It may be smooth muscle, it may be any organ. So this is how the two neuron chain system is there. But why so many figures are given? Because to show that in sympathetic division, in sympathetic nervous system, this preganglionic fiber is short. It is short, whereas postganglionic fiber is long. It is long. And secretions also. At preganglionic or at the ganglion, what is the secretion of neurotransmitter? Acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. So this preganglionic fiber, you can say it is cholinergic fiber. Cholinergic neuron or cholinergic fibers. So they will secrete acetylcholine. So second order neuron will start, or second neuron or postganglionic neuron starts from here, and it will supply to the smooth muscle or cardiac muscle. But here they will secrete norepinephrine. Ne is nothing but norepinephrine. So which type of fiber it will be? Here it is cholinergic because it secretes acetylcholine. Here, as it is secreting norepinephrine, we call it as adrenergic fiber. Adrenergic fiber. Either it secretes epinephrine or norepinephrine. Another term is adrenaline or noradrenaline. Okay. Is it always adrenaline or adrenaline? No. There are some places where the postganglionic neuron is secreting, instead of adrenaline or epinephrine or norepinephrine, it is secreting same acetylcholine, which is in the preganglionic fiber. Where it is secreted only to which is supplying to the sweat gland. So sweat gland sympathetic fiber secretes acetylcholine. Coming to the parasympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system, here you will see that preganglionic fiber, which is originating from spinal cord or the brainstem, they are very long. They are very long, and once they reach to the organ, they will end here, and second neuron will start, which is very short. So here, postganglionic fibers are short, preganglionic fibers are long. In the ganglion, the preganglionic fiber will secrete same acetylcholine, which was here, same acetylcholine. Here also same acetylcholine. But the postganglionic fiber also secrete acetylcholine. Here it was norepinephrine most of the time. Only at one place, that is in the sweat gland, they will be secreting acetylcholine, sympathetic system. But in parasympathetic system, at both places, preganglionic nerve fiber and postganglionic neuron, both of them secrete acetylcholine. So that's why they are cholinergic fibers. They are cholinergic neuron. Adrenal medulla is also a part of autonomic nervous system, where preganglionic fiber, they are secreting acetylcholine, and postganglionic fiber is nothing but the adrenal medulla. They are also secreting, they secrete what? Epinephrine 80% of the time, 90% or 20% of the time as norepinephrine. Okay. So same thing is repeated here. The sympathetic nervous system start between or from the thoracic 1 to lumbar 2 segment of the spinal cord, 2 or 3. 2/3. Either sometimes it's starting only from 2 or maybe 2 and 3. So T1 to L2 to 3. Here the preganglionic fibers are short and postganglionic fibers are long. The meaning is that from the spinal cord, the fibers, which is preganglionic, comes out and into the ganglion. The second order neuron will start, and they will be supplying to the muscle or to the gland. So they are long and preganglionic are short. Remember this. Going back to the same picture, the preganglionic fiber, they will secrete what? Acetylcholine. The postganglionic fiber will secrete most of the time norepinephrine, and only at one time they are secreting the one which is supplying to the sweat gland. To the sweat gland, they are secreting acetylcholine. Here it is. Same thing is written here in the next slide, that preganglionic sympathetic fibers are always cholinergic. Always, where it is, where my cursor, I could not see my cursor. Okay, here. So it is always cholinergic. Preganglionic fibers are always cholinergic. Why it is always cholinergic? Because it secretes acetylcholine. And they will be acting on the postganglionic neuron through nicotinic receptor. Once the acetylcholine is released, it has to bind to the receptor, and these receptors are nicotinic receptor. Postganglionic fibers are adrenergic because they will secrete norepinephrine, and it will act through through different types of receptor. One is called as alpha, or second one is called as beta. Either alpha receptor or beta receptor. It will be acting through two different receptor. Again, there are subdivisions alpha 1 and alpha 2, beta 1 and beta 2. Only exceptions to the postganglionic fiber supplying the sweat gland is cholinergic. At only one place there is a uh, neurotransmitter secreted as acetylcholine in the postganglionic fiber of the sympathetic nervous system, and it is acting through not nicotinic receptor but muscarinic receptor. So receptors at the sweat glands are, suppose this is a sweat gland, and these receptors are muscarinic, not acetylcholine or not cholinergic neuron. This is a diagram showing you how the sympathetic nervous system is arranged. You can see this is a spinal cord in the center. The nerves are coming on the both side, right side and left side. So at T1 level till L3 level, all the nerves which are coming out, they are carrying autonomic sympathetic fibers also. They are carrying sympathetic fibers also. They will be ending in a ganglion chain. We call it as sympathetic chain. Just near to the or parallel to the spinal cord, there is a ganglion chain which is called as sympathetic chain. Here it is, the name is written here. Sympathetic chain. This is the chain of ganglions. All these are ganglions. And from there, second order neuron or second neuron is starting, postganglionic neuron. It is supplying, which is long to heart, to the through the glands, to the eye, muscles of the eye, to gastrointestinal system, to the reproductive system or urinary system. All of them are longer fiber. Okay. Where sympathetic system will work and where parasympathetic system will work. So before we move further, these are these two, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, they are automatic response of our body in different situations. Let's say I will give you an example that when you are just going in a jungle or in a forest and suddenly you saw a tiger or a lion, a very wild animal in front of you. What will happen to your body? You will get frightened, right? You will get frightened, scared. In during this stage, what will be the what is your reaction? What will be your reaction? When you get scared because of something, what will be your reaction? Yes, any response? When something emergency situation comes to you, what will be your response?
The blood
Hmm?
vessels will be narrowed
Hmm?
and sweating will increase, GI will decrease, and that's it.
Yes, yeah, that will be your body response. But what is your response?
Afraid.
Suppose you saw a lion or a tiger, not in a cage, outside, in front of you. What you will do?
Run.
Either you will run away from that situation or you will fight with that situation, right? Either you will run away because you saw a very scary animal in front of you. You will either you will fight with it or you will run away. We call this response as fight or flight response. Fight or flight response. Fight means you will fight, face the situation. Flight means you will leave that situation. So this is the response of our body to any emergency situation is either fighting with that situation or going away from that situation. In that case, what will be the response of organs? Either there will be contraction and relaxation of the muscle very fast so that you can run, or if you are trying to fight with that situation, then energy should be collected or energy should be reduced in the body to fight. It will be in the form of increased blood glucose level. It will be in the form of increased supply of oxygen and blood to the muscle. All these are related to any emergency situation. We sum up or we call it as fight or flight response. So this will lead to increase muscle contraction or faster muscle contraction, increase heart rate so that blood supply to the various organs will increase respiration. You will have increased respiratory rate. All of these situations to increase oxygen supply to the muscles and energy supply, increase glucose to the muscle. These are the changes will happen. These changes are called as sympathetic response or fight or flight response. Fight or flight response. Why it is important? It is preparing the body for any strenuous, heavy physical activity. Sympathetic system is preparing the body for heavy or strenuous physical activity, either for fighting or by running away. In both situations, if you want to run fast, you have to have increased muscle contraction, increased heart rate, increased oxygen supply. Even if you want to face that situation, fight, both situations you require increased muscle power, increased oxygen supply, increased energy. So that's why sympathetic system is working during situation of fight or flight, dominating. Working is always, let's say I will give you an example of a tent. This is a tent. Okay. This is a tent and it is erected by a pole in the center. And you are putting these ropes on both sides so that the tent will remain erect. This is all the time, whole day. This is the situation. This you call it as sympathetic, and this you call it as parasympathetic. Imbalance. Sympathetic and parasympathetic, both the divisions of the nervous system are equally effective all the time. This is for all the time. All day you will have sympathetic activity as well as parasympathetic activity going on smoothly, simultaneously, in equal proportion. During stressful condition, let's say there is a wind. Here there is a wind or any stressful condition, the tent will go out or maybe it will be removed from here. So for that purpose, sympathetic system has to hold it very tightly. Sympathetic system has to keep it erect. It will be more discharging or more functioning. So during the stages of any emergency situation, the sympathetic division will be more stronger. During normal day, both of them are working, sympathetic as well as parasympathetic. But during the conditions of any emergency situation, sympathetic system will dominate. That's why it is called as dominating. But normally, if I ask you at this moment now, when you are at home or just sitting listening to the lecture, what is the state of sympathetic and parasympathetic? Which is dominating? You will say both of them are working equally because there is no stressful condition. But suppose immediately after some time, you have a call to go to the hospital, or maybe some accident happened, or maybe some fire happened. Then you have to leave the house. So in that condition, your sympathetic system will discharge more, will be more active, overactive. So this is a situation when you are fighting or flight or removing yourself from any emergency situation. So sympathetic system will be more dominant or active. Sorry. Similar to that or opposite to that, Yani, this parasympathetic division is starting from from the craniosacral outflow. Either it will start from the cranial nerves and supply the areas related to that region, or it will start in the sacral segment of the spinal cord and it will supply to the muscles or organs in that region. So here again, it will be a two neuron chain system. There is a preganglionic and there is a postganglionic system. Here it is the, I will draw it as a brainstem. So from the brainstem, some nuclei are there for the cranial nerves. These are long. And the postganglionic fibers are short. Similarly, from the sacral segment also, they will come out. So craniosacral outflow, craniosacral outflow. So here is showing that preganglionic fibers are longer, postganglionic fibers are shorter. Preganglionic fiber release acetylcholine and postganglionic fiber also release acetylcholine. So both of them here, preganglionic and the postganglionic, which is shorter. This will release acetylcholine. This will also release acetylcholine here. Okay. So that's why it is called as cholinergic fiber. So in parasympathetic, at both places, acetylcholine will be released. Just an example that parasympathetic innervation to the eye muscle, it will be originating from a nucleus which is named as Edinger-Westphal nucleus in the midbrain. Similarly, 10th cranial nerve, which is known as vagus nerve, originates in the nuclei of the medulla and it is supplying to various organs. Here is the picture showing you the sympathetic division or sympathetic outflow. So cranial number 3, 7, 9 and 10 plus the S2, S3, S4 segment of the spinal cord. There will be longer preganglionic fiber and postganglionic fibers actually lying in the organ itself. It's actually lying in the organ itself. So it is short. Postganglionic fibers are short. In which situation parasympathetic will become more stronger or dominating? As I told you, in a normal situation, sympathetic, parasympathetic, both are active. In stressful condition, sympathetic will become dominant or more active. In resting or digesting state, when you are relaxed, when you are sleepy, at that time parasympathetic will be more dominant or it is becoming more active. Parasympathetic division is responsible for maintenance activities. All maintenance activities are done in parasympathetic nervous system or a dominant parasympathetic nervous system. It will allow the body to recover from any form of stress. So throughout the day, if you are working, going from here to there, coming to the college, giving exams, at that time, sympathetic will be more active. When you reach home and relax at home, then parasympathetic will become more active. In this condition, it will be recovering the body from all types of stress throughout the day. So here is the picture, just to, it's not like that, but to show you that how they are relaxed. Okay. To summarize, the differences are given here in the table. Sympathetic fibers originate from the thoracolumbar, from T segment till L segment of the spinal cord. Similarly, parasympathetic originates from cranial and sacral segment of the spinal cord. Preganglionic fiber in sympathetic system are short, whereas preganglionic fiber in parasympathetic are long. Postganglionic fiber in sympathetic are long. Postganglionic fiber in parasympathetic are short, very short. Preganglionic fiber secrete acetylcholine in sympathetic system, whereas Preganglionic fiber is secreting acetylcholine, all similar to the sympathetic system. So both preganglionic fiber, sympathetic as well as parasympathetic, secretes the acetylcholine. Postganglionic fiber in sympathetic system, most of the time it is secreting norepinephrine, 99% of the time. Only 1%, that is those nerves which are going to the sweat gland, they secrete acetylcholine. Here there is no problem. Postganglionic fiber, all of them are secreting acetylcholine. Autonomic ganglia is prevertebral. There is a chain of ganglions are there in sympathetic system, which is near to the vertebra, whereas autonomic ganglion is near to the organ. The nerve comes here and there is a very short. So this is the ganglion which is near to the organ. So as I told you, these are the two arms of a tent, two ropes of the tent, and they are supplying to every organ. Let us say the heart. Heart is receiving, sorry, here. Heart is receiving both sympathetic as well as parasympathetic fibers. Sympathetic as well as parasympathetic fiber. In general, their effects is opposite to each other. Their effect is opposite to each other. One is stimulating, another one is depressing or suppressing. So every organ, not every, you can say most of the organ, 99% of the organ in the body, they receive both sympathetic and parasympathetic supply. Let's say this is a sympathetic supply and here is the parasympathetic supply. Every organ receives both sympathetic as well as parasympathetic. One is stimulating it, second one is inhibiting it. This is the table showing you the difference of what is the effect of ANS, autonomic nervous system, on these organs. On heart, let's start with heart. If sympathetic is overstimulated, it will increase heart rate, force of contraction, and blood pressure. This will be the effect of autonomic nervous system on the heart. Similarly, parasympathetic, if it is stimulated, it will cause decreased heart rate, decreased force of contraction of the cardiac muscle. Blood vessels, on the blood vessel, sympathetic will cause constriction, whereas parasympathetic will cause dilatation of the vessels and dilatation of the vessels only in two places, related to the reproductive organ, that is the penis and clitoris. There is, whereas sympathetic supply is only causing constriction, whereas parasympathetic supply is only affecting two places, that is penis and clitoris. Lungs, at what is the effect of sympathetic on the lungs? Sympathetic will cause bronchodilation, whereas parasympathetic will cause bronchoconstriction. In digestive tract, sympathetic will cause decreased gastric motility. Parasympathetic will cause increased gastric motility. On the sphincters, sympathetic will cause constriction of the sphincter. Parasympathetic will cause relaxation of the sphincter, the one which is controlling the exit of the content of the GI tract. Urinary bladder will be relaxed because of sympathetic stimulation. Parasympathetic will cause contraction. On eye, dilatation of the pupil will be seen in sympathetic supply. Parasympathetic supply will cause constriction of the pupil. On liver, glycogenolysis, that is what you call breakdown of glycogen to give increasing the glucose level, is the effect of sympathetic. Parasympathetic will have no effect. Adipose tissues, lipolysis by sympathetic, and no effect of the parasympathetic. So like that, all the organs are affected by sympathetic or parasympathetic, and most of the time they are opposite to each other. Let us say some important organs, which instead of remembering all, at least you must remember what is the effect of sympathetic system on heart. Here it is stimulatory. Parasympathetic on heart is inhibitory. Blood vessels will be constricted by sympathetic stimulation. Parasympathetic will not cause any effect on blood vessels except in the penis and clitoris, where there will be dilatation of the blood vessels due to parasympathetic stimulation. Bronchioles in the lung will be dilated by sympathetic stimulation and constricted by parasympathetic stimulation. Pupils in the eye will be dilated by sympathetic stimulation, constricted by parasympathetic stimulation. Digestion will be inhibited during sympathetic stimulation. Digestion will enhance during parasympathetic division, because you know that parasympathetic will be more stronger or more dominating during rest and digest state. So as we said, as a general rule, every organ receive sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nerves. But there is exception to this rule. What are these exceptions? Most of the arterioles and veins receive only sympathetic fibers, except the blood vessels supplying to the penis and clitoris. They receive both sympathetic as well as parasympathetic. Sweat gland are innervated only by sympathetic nerves. Salivary glands are innervated by both autonomic divisions like sympathetic and parasympathetic, but their activity is not opposite to each other. The salivary glands, which secrete saliva, they receive sympathetic supply as well as parasympathetic supply. Let's say this is sympathetic. Let's say this is parasympathetic to the gland, but their effect is not opposite to each other, not bil-aks, but rather change in the type of secretion. Change in the type of secretion will occur due to sympathetic or parasympathetic stimulation in the salivary gland. So these are some exceptions. This is the summary of the whole lecture about the system, about the anatomy of the nervous system, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, where they are located, what is the effect of in which condition they will be dominated, and through what receptor, through what chemicals they are acting on the organ. So this is the summary of all our lectures which we just described. Any problem up till now?
No, clear, doctor.
Please read it from the book Sherwood, at least Sherwood, from the chapter number 7, page number 234 to 241, sympathetic and parasympathetic and their effect. So with this one, we come to an end of our lecture number 14, I think. The autonomic nervous system, part 1. I will stop recording.